Nancy Pelosi took politics to a new low over the weekend by blaming President Trump for coronavirus deaths. CNN's Chris Don't Call Me Fredo Cuomo is spinning a narrative that Trump wants to sacrifice old people to help the economy, and left-wing pundits actually seem happy about the latest coronavirus numbers. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. We've got a lot to cover. I'm going to talk about the left. I'm going to talk about Pelosi, the media, and how they all seem to have a brand new set of talking points. They have their new strategy since the economy has been shut down, since we have coronavirus sweeping the country. Their latest strategy, since Mueller didn't work and Ukraine didn't work and impeachment didn't work, is to actually blame President Trump for coronavirus deaths. And we'll get into another angle with the media in a little bit, but that's what Nancy Pelosi was talking about. She was on CNN State of the Union yesterday, and she's blaming President Trump. She was attacking him on a number of fronts. One of them that was just pathetic is the fact that she said, we shouldn't criticize him for the stuff in the past. We need to move forward and look at what he's doing now. Yet she kept criticizing him for things in the past. It was so bizarre. But here's how she started the interview.
Even since the president's signing of the bill, the number of deaths reported has doubled from 1,000 to 2,000 in our country. This is such a very, very sad time for us.
All right, I just want to stop there for a second and say, yes, it's sad. It is very sad what's going on. And also this week, we had another 1,000 deaths. We lost 1,000 more people from the flu. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but here's more from Pelosi.
His denial at the beginning was deadly. His delaying of getting equipment to where it continues, his delay in getting equipment to where it's needed is deadly. And now I think the best thing would be to do is to prevent more loss of life.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start with that one. And it just makes me wonder if the Democrats think that just because they speak, just because the media speaks, that people will listen, that she goes out there and says something, and then they go, oh yeah, that's right, we're going to follow that. We're not going to think, we're just going to listen to the left and follow them. I wonder if that's what they think, because the stuff they say is so outrageous. I mean, just look at what she's saying now. Even before the media got all spun up into this frenzy about coronavirus, President Trump acted. He acted way back in January to stop travel from China. The left, the media criticized him for that. And now she says, the best thing we can do is to prevent more loss of life. That's exactly what we're doing. The whole reason that we just passed a $2 trillion rescue package is because the entire economy has been shut down so that we could stop the spread of this and stop more loss of life. Social distancing, no large gatherings, staying home, economy shut down, jobs being lost, businesses being closed. All of that is to stop more loss of life. So the fact that she says we're not doing anything totally misses the mark. And here's more from Pelosi.
But as the president fiddles, people are dying, and we just have to take every precaution.
Wow, that is truly one of the most outrageous comments I've ever heard a politician say, actually blaming another politician for people dying. It's outrageous and implying that nothing is being done when factories are going crazy. There's manufacturing, there's shipping, there's briefings every day. And I'm not just talking about from the president. I'm talking about from medical experts. I'm talking about coordination with FEMA. I'm talking about research at the CDC to develop testing, to work on a vaccine, to come up with remedies that are already available that seem to be working. All of this stuff is being done, and yet she comes out with a comment like that is absolutely outrageous. Well, Senator Lindsey Graham was on yesterday talking on the shows, and he addressed Pelosi's comment, and here's what he said.
What she said, she's blaming the President of the United States for people dying because of the way he's led the country. That's the most shameful, disgusting statement by any politician in modern history.
All right, I'm not, as you know me, I'm a reasonable guy. I try and give you guys opinions, even if you disagree with them. in a thoughtful, reasonable way based on my experience and based on studying and seeing what's going out there. So I'm not a big fan of hyperbole, but Lindsey Graham is right. I mean, Pelosi is criticizing. People are working overtime. They are working like crazy to solve this problem, and she's making attacks like that. And here's more from Graham.
She's the first politician to blame another politician for people dying. This is the same Speaker of the House who held up the bill in the Senate for days because she wanted same-day voting. She wanted carbon neutrality for the airlines. She wanted $75 million for the endowment for the humanities and $25 million for the Kennedy Center.
Yep, Pelosi did push all those things. She delayed the rescue bill. She delayed this action for the American people, Republicans and Democrats alike, all of those suffering out there, independents, all of those that probably voted for Clinton last time for president. All of those people are suffering. She delayed it to put in Green New Deal stuff, to put in extra wasteful spending, programs that have no relevance to coronavirus aid, rescue, research, testing, you name it. It's in the bill, and the media just gives her a pass on it. They give the legislators a pass on it. It has nothing to do with fighting coronavirus, yet Democrats get it in there, it passes, media goes on, they're just going to focus on Trump. It's absolutely outrageous. So next I want to talk about the media side. I want to talk about Chris Cuomo over at CNN, because he's carrying the same storyline that President Trump is responsible for these deaths. He spins it in a little bit different way. But here's some of what Cuomo said.
We have the most cases in the world. Why? Because we have a big population, there's lots of density in places, and we have major foreign travel hubs, but also because we've done the least to stop the spread. And in large part, that's on Trump.
Can you believe this? Now, Cuomo did get a few things right. Some of the spike in numbers has to do with the population. We're the third largest country in the world by population. We are an international travel hub, both for business and leisure, and we have very dense areas. The one thing the left and others always leave out, and it gets back to some of my central thesis with how we're affecting, how we're going about treating this, is that he leaves out we are also the freest country in the world. And with freedom comes consequences. And we have to deal with those and solve problems in a manner that's reflective of the American way of life. They always leave that part out of it. And that's one of the reasons we see this number. We also see the number because the amount of testing is going up and up and up and up. But then Cuomo gets to the central thesis of his monologue that he's given. And here he is.
The president should say himself what his fringe friends are saying. Have you heard it? They're okay with a certain number of the frail and the greatest generation dying off to make the economy come back sooner. Just say it, because they're saying it for you.
So Cuomo's point is that there are fringe people on the right that are out there talking, but what they're saying is really what President Trump thinks, and that is that the economy is more important than old people. And he alludes to it, too, in another monologue, and I would just want to play that one for you.
I guess he's the guy who can answer that absurd question you'd get when you were a kid. You have to pick one. Who are you going to kill? And you can't say neither. I guess he's the guy who answers that question. The rest of us dismiss it. You know why? It's absurd. We don't put a price on people's life.
All right, so what Cuomo is saying there is that we don't put a price tag on people's lives. That's the message from the Democrats. That's the message from the left now. One, that President Trump is to blame for all coronavirus deaths. And two, if we get the economy going again, we feel that the economy is more important than older people's lives, that we should sacrifice them to get the economy going. Well, guess what? We all care about the greatest generation. I care about my parents. I care about other people's parents and grandparents, the elderly, those who did fight for our freedom. We all care about them. But guess what? We make these decisions every single day of our lives, every single year. I've been following the CDC's weekly flu reports, and I apologize for today's rant, and if it goes long, I know the show's been going a little longer lately, but there's so much to cover, and we lose track in our method that we're fighting this of America's freedom and a response that should be uniquely and genuinely American. I follow the CDC's weekly flu reports. The week ending March 14th, there were 390,000 hospitalizations, 23,000 deaths. We are on the downswing now of the flu season. So the week ending March 21st, we added another 10,000 hospitalizations, 400,000 hospitalizations, and 24,000 flu deaths. We got another 1,000, all right? Happens, the estimates are, when all the data comes in, anywhere from around 30 to maybe 50,000 deaths from the flu this season, okay? What is the number one population that the flu kills? The elderly. Every single year, we lose tens of thousands of people. And I know you can't compare coronavirus to the flu on contagiousness and other things like that, but there is something that you can do an exact apples to apples comparison, and that is ways to mitigate the deaths. And that is the same practices that we are doing now. You can wash your hands. You can employ social distancing. You can avoid large gatherings. We could close down the schools. We could close down businesses. We could close down the whole economy every single winter and early spring, and we would save tens of thousands of lives, mostly elderly and mostly those with poor health conditions. We don't do it. We wake up every day and go to work every single year, year after year, and we do that trade-off. All of a sudden, the Democrats are saying that, oh, no, we can't start the economy because every elderly life matters, except it hasn't. We've made that trade-off. We do it every year. Yes, we should be careful. We should always be careful, and that is why we should have a response that treats the elderly, those that did fight for our country, with the utmost respect, and find a plan that keeps them safe while the rest of the country can go about its business. You can do both. You can respect our freedom. We don't have to shut down the economy and still value and cherish the lives of those who are most at risk. Again, the left and the media are being so disingenuous with this argument because every year, once again, we lose tens of thousands of people and we never change our behavior. We never alter the economy. We never shut down a single school. We never shut down a single business, and we keep going on. So next, I want to talk about how the left is almost joyful that America now leads in the number of confirmed cases. They are tweeting and tweeting and tweeting, all because they use this as an attack against the president. Here's Dean Obadiah, who writes for the Daily Beast. Here's what he tweeted. Trump wanted to make America first. Well, he did it. Of the 175 countries that have the coronavirus, the U.S. is number one in terms of cases, thanks to Trump's failed leadership. This is all Trump. Unreal. What's funny, again, and we alluded to it, is that the left kept saying, we need more testing, we need more testing. Now tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of tests are out there. People are getting tested, so the number is going to go up. Here's another tweet. This is cartoonist Bill Bramhall. He tweeted this out. He tweeted out his latest cartoon, which shows the U.S. as happy as can be for leading the world in coronavirus cases. And then, of course, there's Hillary Clinton. She tweeted this. He did promise America first, and that's in response to a New York Times story about the U.S. having the most confirmed cases. So again, folks, this is the problem, is that the left just wants to attack. They don't want to offer solutions. Even when it came to the rescue bill, they tried to load it with junk. And it just shows that they are not serious about this problem. And so finally, I want to end up with what's going on in Sweden, the approach that they are taking, which is a little different than what we are. And here's a report from the Washington Times. After a long, dark Scandinavian winter, the coronavirus pandemic is not keeping Swedes at home, even while citizens in many parts of the world are sheltering in place and won't find shops or restaurants open on the few occasions they are permitted to venture out. Swedish authorities have advised the public to practice social distancing and to work from home if possible, and urge those over 70 to self-isolate as a precaution. Yet compared to the lockdowns imposed elsewhere in the world, the government's response to the virus allows a liberal amount of personal freedom. So that sounds interesting. Those 70 and over, the ones that are at most risk, are advised to self-isolate. Over here, we're isolating everybody. How about we isolate the ones that are truly in danger, and the rest of us work together to protect those people, to help those people, to deliver food, to make sure things are clean, to do our part. And here's more from the Washington Times. Standing at bars has been banned in Sweden, but restaurant customers can still be served at tables instead of having to take food to go. High schools and universities are closed, but preschools and primary schools are still running classes in person. Sweden is an outlier on the European scene, at least, says Johan Gasecki, the country's former chief epidemiologist and now advisor to the Swedish Health Agency, a government body. And I think that's good. Other European nations have taken political, unconsidered actions, instead ones dictated by science, Gasecki asserted. So, is he right? Is that the right approach? I would love to hear what you think in the comments. If you think that approach is right, if you think what we're doing is right, my opinion and what I've said over and over again is that when you have the freest country in the world, you need to take that into account. You need to focus on the true problem, which is protecting those most at risk, protecting those folks, and work around that, okay? In America, we don't need a former Soviet Union or communist China type approach for American solution. So folks, let me know what you think about that in the comments. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberly. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, just a little reminder before you go, and no, this does not count against my 13 minutes. Please hit the subscribe button below and tell your friends. And if you happen to miss our last show, you can check it out right here. And also for great conservative news and commentary, please check out GOPUSA.com. All right, folks, we'll see you on the next show. Have a great day.